My name is Emily Rault. I am Canadian-born, a town called Edmonton, Alberta. I currently live in Stockholm, Sweden, although I am in this very moment in the countryside in Germany. I was playing a jazz festival last night. I moved with my ex-partner. That was about 4.5 years ago, and then I got a really cool job at the time working at a cabaret in Stockholm, and I became one of the managers, the entertainment manager, and that's what I was doing for quite a long time, so that's why I stayed. I do a lot of stuff, I guess. First and foremost, I suppose I would say that I'm a singer, because that's what I have made money the most often doing, but I don't think that money necessarily defines being an artist. So I also am educated in costume design, clothing production, graphic design, dance. I'm a writer, I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm a recording artist. Like I run my own studio at home. I draw. Am I missing anything? I do a lot of stuff. Basically, if I decide that I'm interested in something, I do it. I don't think that you can define art based on how good someone is at something. I think if they do it and they put their heart into it, then it's art. So I'm just an artist in general, I guess. I have a tendency to throw back to way older musicians, like Irma Thomas is one of my biggest inspirations. Alan Toussaint's a crazy songwriter. Carole King is one of my all-time favorite songwriters. But that's not really fair for me just to throw back, because there are modern ones as well, but I always have a hard time. My brother and my dad and my whole family, I have close friends here in Stockholm and also in Germany that just I get very inspired by environment around me more so necessarily than by like any particular artist or person. Heartbreak. Like I wish it was something else, but normally it's heartbreak and boredom. In general, there's a lot of times you can get kind of pissed off being an artist just because art isn't respected, and it's a weird reality because art is one of the most natural things to human beings. When you're a child, you dance and you sing and you paint, and art is human nature, but it's not appreciated. And so when someone actually puts their whole life into being an artist, they get asked every day, what's your real job? For a lot of us, we don't actually have another job. This is all that we do, but then for some of us, we work in a cafe, but that doesn't mean that that's our real job when we're incredibly talented at something else. So that can make me very angry sometimes. Also, yeah, I've had instances where you work your ass off, you work harder than other people, but because what you do isn't deemed real work or whatever, you don't get paid properly for it, you don't get benefits for it, you don't get viewed in the same light. And also, like, I've had issues with my visa and my issues in Sweden and my job ripping me off because you're just an artist and they don't have to really treat you properly. Like, that's how I ended up leaving the cabaret that I was working for, and that can be really hard. You just don't get the same kind of respect, even when you're really good, and even when you are accomplished and people know that you are succeeding, you still just don't really get the same level unless you're like top 40s pop star. That's really frustrating. Being involved in the arts, you live in a bubble of really cool artistic people, and it's easy, thank God, to forget how fucked up the world is. And then you leave your bubble and you talk to other people and you realize that not everyone is super creative and loving and happy and fun. Like, of course, not all artists that way, but there's like a much more open attitude amongst artistic people, and yeah, I don't know, the people make me happy. I played a festival last night that was just full of amazing people having a really good time, and nobody's caught up on how they look or how they're coming across. They're just there to live in the moment, and that's art to me, and that makes me happy. I don't know, I've definitely had some issues with this. I've thought about this before, in that, like, what am I doing for the world? Like, the world is in crisis now as much as ever. Like, I think it's always kind of like this, unfortunately. And what am I doing? But in reality, I think that giving people an escape, giving people some enjoyment and happiness and some breath of fresh air in the middle of all of the stuff that's going on in the world. I think that that's a really powerful tool. Also, I do think that it's an amazing platform to speak about issues that are happening, and I also think that it's a great way to release your own inner turmoil, and then people can relate to it, and then you can create human connection that unfortunately a lot of times is lacking in the world, especially with all of the fake appearances on social media. I think that art is just like a human connection. It's really raw and vital to our lives. All of it, all the time. To me, art isn't just like when I sit down and I rigidly practice something, piano, singing, whatever. It's all of it, all the time. I'm always coming up with ideas. I'm always have a journal with me that I sketch things down, and I am singing all the time, which I remember vividly when I was a kid, like especially a teenager, like the worst years ever, having my friends being like, "Can you just stop singing ever? Like, do you ever stop?" And it embarrassed me, but no, I don't, and that's why I've become the singer that I am, because I don't ever stop. It's always practice. I always want to do it. So yeah, no, my entire life is art. So 100%, I would say. My artistry is me. Yeah, it's all of me. It's my entire life. My parents are artists. My loved ones are artists. Everyone close to me is an artist in some way. I think every human genuinely is an artist in some way. It's just that a lot of us aren't encouraged to figure out what it is that we are artistically inclined to do. We're just told that we have to go get a fucking job. I think I answered that. I don't know. I think depression, a lot of the time, unfortunately, is like a bit of a release for me. I've since I was very young, I've always written songs about heartbreak. It came naturally to me. I don't know if that's some past life stuff or if that's just my inclination to lean towards the depressed side of life when it comes to music, but it's not always that. Also, it depends what art. Like sometimes when I'm drawing, it's just I'll get inspired. Usually, though, I will say it's late at night. Like the times that I actually do the most productivity and actually like really create things is when it's super late and I should be going to sleep. I just get like a spark of energy and I sit down and I'm drawing on the floor of my room until 5 in the morning. It's not ideal, but it's just how it's always been. I've always known my parents were musicians and artists of various kinds, and my mom was gigging on stages singing while she was pregnant with me, and I performed with my parents on stage super, super young, and there's a puppy. Sorry. I got very distracted. Always. Childhood. I told my dad when I was a kid that I wanted to be a painter, singer, dancer, writer, carpenter, hairdresser, seamstress, cook. Like I want to do all of it. And he asked me how I'd afford it. I said that I would marry someone rich, and I didn't necessarily do that, but I am actually doing basically all of those arts that I said that I'm interested in. So if you do the thing where you measure your life based on what the future, like old lady or old person you would think and child you would think, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. There's a puppy. Sorry. I got very distracted.